What is up, my fellow creatures? Today we're going to be discussing a character named Kyle. Originally, their name was Kylan, but it just didn't fit right with me, so I changed the name to Kyle. And Kyle is a vampire. Kyle originally had a blue hair, in long blue hair, but considering how around that time I was making the characters a little bit to my liking and not really a character of its separate own personality and everything, I changed the hair to a grayish blonde um, because Kyle has taken place back in the day where vampires used to be the main superior and the only species on Earth. Kyle, there is only a little bit of humans. There isn't a lot. They're very rare, and the whole world is just vampires. That's all it is. They feed on humans' blood, where the humans are taken in a building where it's like a bank, and it's like a blood bank. This story is inspired by an original comic that was created in another website, and that's where this world is sort of taking place, but in a different kind of universe. Kyle is a vampire that is in love with a human. Humans and vampires are equal, equal. They're equal, but vampires have more control and leadership on Earth, and Kyle has a woman that he lost later on because he couldn't hold his urges and ended up killing her. His he had broken since then and just lost any kind of emotion towards anyone since that incident. And since then, he's been craving blood from both humans and vampires. He will kill vampires and eat their flesh out of anger. He hated his own species, therefore, he does this. Later on, he had been trapped somewhere to the point that he's been stuck there for many, many years and um, came back to the present time where there is only humans. There is rarely any any vampires, and when he came to this present time, he got a little confused and a little bit crazy because it's such a drastic change for him. While he was trying to roam this human place, his cravings of blood became drastically strong because it wasn't like as if he can move away from these humans. They're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. Eventually, he did come across a human that he slightly had feelings for but tried to push away because he didn't want to lose the loss like he did last time. This human found out instantly that he was a vampire and would try to do anything to get proof that he's a vampire and expose him to the world. So the story is based on the battle between the vampire and the human, um, fighting on exposure. Think of it as like Invader Zim. How Zim came on Earth and He tries to rule over the world, and this kid named Dib was trying to expose him of being an alien. Think of it as that way, where Kyle is wants to feed and eat everyone, but try not to get caught that he's a vampire. As this one human knows that he's a vampire and tries to expose him throughout the world. The only difference between from Vader Zim is that there is a love triangle going on, and eventually towards the end of the story, it there's a good side to it. There's a slight good side, and that Kyle's personality starts to change. He starts to try to do better for himself and trying to be a good person instead of a bad person like he was. Um, what else? Kyle is a pansexual. He just has attraction for everyone, and he doesn't know this. He doesn't really label himself as a pansexual. He just likes how everyone looks, but also lust for the blood that he craves. Um, this story is a gore romance. Let's see, a gore romance horror adventurous kind of story. So there will be lots and lots of blood. That's why in the drawing I put blood splats everywhere because there's going to be a lot of blood involved into the story. Um, in this universe that Kyle is in, before he got trapped and went to the present time, a lot of the vampires are very pale. They don't have different skin tones. They're all pale, and this is because of the lack of sunlight. And in their species, pale skin is the top, um, what do you call that? The top DNA uh, thing. I forgot what it's called, and I do deeply apologize. But there is no other skin tone, and their hair goes from either black or white. This is what makes Kyle a little bit unique, how they have this weird shade color in their hair, where it's close to white, but it actually has this dirty blonde into it. Albino vampires are known to be the most beautiful vampires in the universe. They're supposed to be very gorgeous, very loved, and just outright the best of the best. In the present time, there is a little bit of vampires, very rare, very little bit of vampires, but they do come in different skin tones. Therefore, the light skin tone vampires are less likely to come out than the dark skin tone vampires. The dark skin tone vampires are able to roam free in the daytime, but only for a short period of time. As the pale ones, the light skin tones, aren't able to touch the sunlight at all. Kyle discovers this later on when he comes across another vampire, and Kyle was just profoundly fascinated by these different vampires he never came across back in his era. The story is going to be taking place in two different point of views, Kyle's point of view and another person's point of view, which is the human. And you get to learn more of the world in the present time, how much change and difference it is from back in Kyle's time. Um, Kyle is known to be very tall, like 6 something maybe, 6'4" I would guess. And what else? He is around the age of 116, I would say. 116. So he's a teenager. He's not really an older adult. Vampires tend to live longer for about around, I would say, around 500 years, I would say, or 600 years. So they tend to age very, very slowly, unlike the humans. The humans age a bit more faster than the vampires. This should be known how vampires are very known for this, that they age very slowly. Um, there is slight different facts that's going to be presented in the story about the vampires that is going to be slightly different than what you've learned from Dracula or from any other vampire stories. And no, it's not going to be like Twilight where the sparkly vampires sparkle in the sunlight, which is fucking retarded. Anyways, it's going to be very different. Um, and I think that's pretty much I can say about Kyle. It's kind of a mixture of two different stories and how Kyle tries to comprehend of what's going on in the present time than he was in his error and trying not to get exposed of being a vampire because around the present time is where a lot of scientists is trying to collect vampires for um as lab rats to see how their body works and why they're the way they are and blah blah blah. So everyone, Mikhail, that would be it. If you guys want more stories on different characters, please let me know in the comments below. There is a link to my website where there's a bunch of characters listed. If you guys want a specific character's story to be told, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and click a like if you really do like these stories that I do for my characters. And that would be it. I will see you guys later. Peace.